Do you think you know everything about Peppa Pig? I'm sure you don't know the answer to these questions. Have you ever stopped to think that we have followed the pig family's routine for so many years, but almost never hear the real names of the adults? It's very curious how, in the Peppa Pig universe, the identity of the older characters seems to be hidden. We call everyone Daddy Pig, Mummy Pig, Grandpa Pig, and Granny Pig, but of course those are not their real names. One of the few names we know is Grandpa Rabbit's. In one of the episodes, we discover that his real name is Reggie when George finds an old letter inside a bottle. But what about Mummy Pig? There is a very interesting theory that came up inspired by her sister, Aunt Dottie. The name Dottie comes from dots, which in English means little dots, and her dress is completely patterned with dots. When Mummy Pig was a child, her dress had a flower pattern. This could be a clue that her true name has something to do with flowers, like Daisy or something similar. This is just one of the unanswered questions that we're going to see today. So grab your notebook of questions and get ready, because another zigzag is starting. One of the most intriguing things about the trips that Peppa takes is that no matter whether she is in Italy, in France, in the United States, or even in Australia, she never meets other pigs that are not from her own family. If you look closely, there are dozens of families of dogs, rabbits, wolves, and zebras spread around the world, but the pig species seems to be extremely limited and exclusive. All the pigs that appear in the cartoon are related to Peppa in some way. They are her parents, grandparents, uncles, or cousins, like Chloe and Alexander. This raises a somewhat scary question. Could it be that pigs are an endangered species in that world? When Peppa travels to other countries, she meets many different children, but none of them is a little pig. This loneliness of the species may be the reason why the pig family seems to be so close-knit and protected. Some more attentive fans believe that maybe something happened in the past that reduced the pig population, and now they live in small families.
What?
That would explain why we never see other neighbors of the same species on top of other hills. Maybe this explains why Mummy Pig and Daddy Pig decided to have one more daughter, to try to increase the population of almost extinct pigs. And they ended up having the most different little pig of all of them. The arrival of little Eevee, Peppa's new baby sister, brought a detail that left everyone with a flea behind their ear, the heart-shaped birthmark on her cheek. Why did the animators choose to give this exclusive detail to her? If you look at Peppa or George when they were babies, they had completely smooth faces, without any special mark. Eevee is the only character in the entire cartoon who has this very different and charming characteristic. There are many theories about this, and some are even a little worrying, saying that the heart could be a sign of some kind of health problem, but the most likely explanation is visual. Since Eevee will grow up and will probably end up looking very similar to Peppa, the heart mark serves so that the audience can easily tell them apart in the future. In addition, this mark may symbolize that Eevee has a special role in the series. What do you think Eevee's mark means? Comment #Eevee in the comments and tell us. Have you ever noticed that the narrator of Peppa Pig is not just a voice that tells the story, but someone who seems to be physically present at the location? There is a huge mystery about who this person is who observes every step of the pig family. In several episodes, we have clues that the series is filmed by someone, almost like a documentary. The clearest example is when the camera lens gets dirty with mud or water, showing that there is equipment there capturing the images. If someone is filming, who would that person be? Some theories point to Mrs. Rabbit, since she has 1,000 jobs, and one of them is being a TV director, which would explain why she knows everything that happens in the town. Another possibility is Mr. Labrador, who often appears holding a camera at random moments, following Peppa's life to show the world how they live. And speaking of that, another great mystery of Peppa is where a certain type of inhabitants in their world is, and how they live. One of the biggest questions that fans ask is, where are the human beings in the world of Peppa Pig? If the cartoon is inhabited only by animals that talk and act like people, why do there even exist monuments that represent humans? When the family travels to New York, we see the Statue of Liberty, and it has the shape of a human woman, exactly like in our reality. This is very strange because in a world of animals, the statue should be a lady dog of liberty or a lady rabbit of liberty. Besides that, the Queen is one of the only human characters, even though she still lives in that world of talking animals. These clues suggest a fascinating theory, that humans existed in that world thousands of years ago, but ended up disappearing or being replaced by the animals that evolved. The monuments would be relics of a past human civilization that the animals decided to preserve, even without really understanding who those figures were. This would explain why the cities and the technologies are so similar to ours. Peppa Pig could take place in a very distant future, where nature took back control, and the animals learned to build their own houses and cars by following the traces left by the former human inhabitants. Time in Peppa Pig is one of the most confusing mysteries on television. If we count how many Christmas episodes have already aired, we will come to the conclusion that at least 6 or 7 years have passed since the beginning of the series. However, Peppa continues to be 4 years old, and George continues to be a baby who barely knows how to talk. How is that possible? In a normal world, Peppa should already be almost entering adolescence. It seems that the characters are stuck in a time loop where the seasons change, the holidays happen, but nobody truly ages. Only with the birth of Eevee did something change. Mummy Pig's pregnancy was shown, and we know that a pregnancy takes around 9 months, which gives us to understand that, for the first time, the clock started to move for real. Now that a new member has arrived and is growing, fans are eager to know if Peppa will finally turn 5 or 6 years old. Could it be that Eevee's birth broke the spell of time, and now we will see everyone growing up? Or will she also be stuck in the baby phase forever, while the Christmases keep passing one after the other? And if you subscribe to our channel, you also won't even see time pass while you watch our videos. Just click the button and subscribe. If you pay attention to Peppa's school, you will notice a recurring problem. The roof is always broken or leaking. It's impressive how Madame Gazelle is constantly organizing charity events, marathons, and bazaars to get money to fix that darn roof. Daddy Pig has already had to run an entire marathon by himself, and Mummy Pig has already had to parachute jump just to get funds for these renovations. But the question that won't go away is, why does the roof never get fixed properly? There is a theory that Mr. Bull, who is responsible for construction work in the town, might be deliberately doing a poor job. If he fixes the roof in a definitive way, Madame Gazelle won't need to call him anymore. By just making a patch that only lasts a few months, he makes sure that he will always have work and that the school will continue to need his services. Mr. Fox is one of the most charismatic and, at the same time, most suspicious characters in the entire cartoon. He has a shop where he sells absolutely everything, from toy dentures to ships in bottles. He often makes it seem that his products are found or acquired in ways that are not very clear. At various moments, his behavior borders on illegality, acting like a true trickster or even a thief. Like when he appears at night at Peppa's grandparents' farm, and it seems that he is planning to take Grandpa Pig's chickens when he is caught in the act. The big mystery is, why does the police never do anything about it? Everyone in town knows that Mr. Fox is a shady dealer, but he continues free to sell his suspicious goods. Maybe he is so good with words that he manages to convince the police officers that everything he does is perfectly legal. Or maybe the police turn a blind eye to it because he is the main supplier of rare items in the region. And you, do you have an answer to any of these mysteries?